Alright, what does a black belt represent to me? A black sash, a black belt, a black shirt, whatever. Whatever symbol you want to choose. A medallion, a black medallion, black necklace. Who cares what it is? Alright? When it comes to the martial arts, it's just a way of people signifying that, hey, they're pretty advanced. So black belt to me just means that this is an advanced practitioner. Now, if you think about that, what does that mean? You're an advanced practitioner. What does that mean? That's all subjective. Just look at it. Look at it how it is. When somebody asks, you know, oh, do you practice martial arts? Oh, yes, I do. Oh, what belt are you? I'm a black belt. So that you're basically saying that you're advanced. All right. So advanced compared to who? All right. Now, if you're talking about, you know, comparing yourself to somebody that never practiced, then yeah, you might be advanced. But compare yourself to somebody that's at an extremely high level, Olympic level, then no, you're no longer advanced. Okay? You could be one of the best high school basketball players out there, but you will never be nothing compared to like Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan. Alright? You're just not at that level yet. Okay? So, it just depends on, you know, it's all subjective. How old are you? You know, what gender are you? You know, that's why they have women's basketball and men's basketball, because there's different gender. Okay? How old you are, that comes into consideration. Alright, so it's all subjective, and all it represents is just who, you know, who's advanced, you know, who's has the basic fundamentals down about martial arts. And to me, it's not everlasting. It's not something that you get at the age of 10 and then you have it until you're age 40. You know, it's something where I believe that it's always changing. You know, it is continuously changing. It changes with time. You could be a martial artist at a high level today, and then tomorrow you're no longer at that high level because you might have broke your leg. You might have broke your back. You might die. So then you're no longer even existing. So how can you even be a high level martial artist? So it changes day to day, and really we see it. It's like asking a question: are you athletic? Well, you could be athletic now, but it doesn't mean you'll be athletic 30 years from now, or even 5 years from now, or even 6 months from now. It's like asking a question, are you healthy? Well, that's not a forever constant, you know, that's not forever constant. You might go to the doctor, and then today the doctor says you're healthy, and then even a week from now you might be unhealthy. You might catch a cold, you might get the flu, then you're not healthy anymore. Alright? So, your health changes, your athleticism changes, and this title that we have, are you a black belt? I see that it changes, and it changes through time. And true martial artists are the ones that are able to, you know, obtain a high level of training for a long period of time, pretty much their whole life. Alright, true martial artists are basically people that stay at a high level for their whole life. Alright, based on their age, based on their gender. Alright, so it's kind of like Michael Jordan starting to play basketball at the age of 9 or whatever, and then him constantly training and training and training, so he's like a true basketball player at a very high level. He's a black belt basketball player at the age of 9, all the way up until he retired from the, you know, NBA, which he might have retired, I don't know what age, but say he retired at the age of 45. So he's he's a black belt basketball player from the age of 9 until 45. But after the age of 45, did he maintain that high level of training, that discipline, you know, in his talent? Did he retain that? Did he maintain it? If he did not, then he loses the black belt. I'm saying it based on his age. He doesn't have to be in the NBA in order to be a black belt basketball player, a high level basketball player. Alright? You could be an 80-year-old person and be at a very high level for your age in playing basketball. Alright? But if he gives up and he retires and he says, you know, I'm not playing basketball anymore, I'm going to just golf and that's all I'm going to do, then he's no longer a black belt basketball player. He's just, he might, you know, he put his energies into something else. Okay, so it doesn't mean that he loses his kung fu. His kung fu is his discipline to better himself. But he might decide, I don't want to better myself in basketball anymore, I'm going to go to something else. So that's how it goes. That's how I see it. You know, just like you can't be a soldier or a police officer forever. Alright? You're going to eventually have to retire. And when you retire, you can't claim that title anymore. It's not yours. All right. You could say I'm a retired police officer, but you can't say I'm an active police officer. Because if you do, then you know it's pretty much against the law. So the law puts limitations on this. But it just so happens they don't put limitations in the martial arts, and that's why people going around, you know, 30, 40 years old claiming that they're black belts martial artists when they're not. Because they stopped practicing. They stopped taking themselves to a high level. Alright? I'll tell you right now, in order for me to consider anybody to be a black belt or to be considered at a high level, they better be at a high level body, mind, and spirit. All three. Alright? If they're missing just one component, I do not consider them a black belt. Alright? So you might have somebody who might have been training in martial arts for 40 years and he says he's a 9th degree black belt, but then he's just completely out of shape. Alright? I don't consider him a black belt. He might consider himself a black belt, but I don't. That's my view on it. Because it's clear that when it comes to the physical, it's something that you can clearly see. And not just see, but they have to do it. You know, if somebody says that they're strong, then they should be able to pop out a bunch of push-ups and a bunch of sit-ups and a bunch of pull-ups. But if they can't, then that shows that they're not athletic. Alright? So if you are not athletic, then you're not at a high level. And that's just all I'm saying. You know, when it comes to understanding the combat techniques, it's just like, to me, like watching somebody dance. If I see somebody practice their techniques, no matter if they're just practicing a form, or if they're shadow boxing, or if they're hitting a punching bag, I can tell whether or not they're good at what they do. It's like watching Michael Jackson dance. You can tell he's a good dancer. It speaks for itself. So that component, I can tell if a person has ability in that aspect. When it comes to the spiritual, that's something harder to gauge. Because now you're talking about how a person lives, how his inner character is, how his inner heart is. Is he a giving person? Is he a loving person? Is he a compassionate person? That's harder to gauge. You're going to really have to get to know the person from the inside out. You know, you're going to have to spend time with that person to really get to know, to feel the energy that they're emitting. Alright? That's something harder to gauge. But to me, a true black belt martial artist is at a high level, body, mind, and spirit. And there's not that many people out there representing it the true way. Alright? I say it's Bruce, Jet Li, and Tony. As far as the famous people are concerned. I respect them to be black belt martial arts. But there are hidden ones out there that people don't know about. I know a few of them, but you guys don't know them, so it's pointless to even mention their names. But I know there's true martial artists out there that are hidden. Alright? As far as those competition fighters are concerned, those boxers, they're not martial artists. They're just fighters. Alright? They might be proficient in fighting. They might be fit, but they lack the spirit. So I don't consider them black belt martial artists. They're just fighters. Alright? Black belt martial artists are the people that are representing to the high level. Body, mind, and spirit. You know, that's what I think the black belt is supposed to represent. And like I said, it's not forever constant. Alright? Because even if Bruce Lee was alive today, if he stopped training, you know, and he's just let himself go, and then his pot belly's all out here, I don't say that he's a high-level martial artist. He should drop that title and claim another title. Maybe he's just a sage, or maybe he's a a coach or a spiritual guide or something. Okay, but no longer a black belt martial artist. So that's what I say. I say that it's something that's not forever constant. All right, you have to maintain it. All right, it's important.